Good evening, class. Good evening. So, good evening,
Good
class.
evening, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So, good evening, class. I am teacher Edwin, and together with me is teacher Judy. And today we are your teachers for this night. So, may I request Roden Jin Mankao to please lead the prayer?
Okay, sir. Okay, let us pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in prayer, asking for your guidance and wisdom as we begin this online class. Help us to stay focused and attentive as we learn and grow together. Give us the strength to stay motivated and the courage to ask questions when needed. We thank you for the opportunity to learn and grow in knowledge. May our minds be open to new ideas and hearts to be filled. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Thank you for that wonderful prayer, Rudin Jin Mankao. For your attendance class, kindly please use the in-call messages and chat I am present. Again, for your attendance, kindly use the in-call messages and chat there I am present. Class Secretary Alexa Licera or Jasper Jean Ingbino, please take note of the attendance. For our classroom rules class, here are our classroom rules. So first, be on time. Second, be prepared. Third, turn on your camera if you can. Fourth, do not eat. Fifth, dress appropriately. Sixth, mute your microphone, especially when you are not asked to talk. Seventh, raise your hand when you want to talk or ask for a help. Lastly, enjoy learning, and of course, the unwritten rule, which is be responsible of your own learning at your own pace. All right. So, by the way, class, may I ask your day? How was your day today, class? How are you,
Good,
class?
sir.
All right. That's
We're
nice.
good.
All right. That's nice to hear. So, last meeting we talked about a lesson, right? So, what was our last discussion that we had?
It's about assessment for special education.
All right. Thank you so much, Jasper Jean Ingrid. All right, thank you so much. So welcome to another lesson in Educ 112, and this lesson actually is our last lesson. But before that, to start with, I have here a code. Are you familiar with cipher code, class?
No, sir.
All right, so thank you. Cipher code class, you need to convert each letter of the message into a corresponding number based on a predetermined cipher key. For example, A is equal to 26, B is equal to 25, C is equals to 24, and so on. Then you have to add the number in order for you to create that word. Are your class ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I will give you 1 minute for this activity. Your timer starts now. Your answer should be putted in the in-call messages. Again, chat your answer in the in-call messages. All right, thank you so much, class. So I guess yes, so based on the in-call messages, I can see that every one of you mostly got the correct answer. So here are our correct answers. So number one, we have rubric. Number two, special needs. And number three, students' behavior. So I have a question, class. Based on the PPT, your answers, and the given cipher codes, what do you think is our lesson for this night? Can someone unmute their microphone and answer? Do you have any idea, class, for our lesson tonight?
About special needs, sir.
Special need. All right, thank you. Quite good.
Rubrics for special needs behavior.
All right. Almost close, but not yet. Anyone? Yes, you can unmute your microphone.
Classroom
Blessed
assessment and children with disabilities, sir.
Very good. So welcome to the last lesson in EDUC 112, lesson number 2, classroom assessment and children with disabilities. So here are our learning objectives for us to be guided along with our discussion. At the end of the lesson, the student shall be able to, first, identify the different ecological models for assessment in children with disability. Second, share the importance of classroom assessment and children with disabilities through active participation. And lastly, create a fitness rubric for individual with special need. Classroom assessment and children with disabilities. For your first activity class, are you familiar with the game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes, sir.
All right, so thank you so much. The instruction of the game class is you need to read the question carefully and choose your answer based on the given choices. You only have 20 seconds to chat your answer in the in-call messages. Again, I repeat, you only have 20 seconds to chat your answer in the in-call messages. Are you class ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. So welcome to the game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? For your first question, class, ten seconds left. Time is up. All right, for the question number 1, the correct answer is letter A. All right, so I guess most of you guys got the correct answer. For those who did not get the right answer, better luck next time. So let's proceed to the question number 2. This pertains to which program suits the needs of the child with disability. 8 seconds left. Time is up. For the question number 2, the correct answer is letter C. Program plan pertains to which program suits the needs of the child with disability. For the last question, read the question carefully and jot down your answer in the in-call messages. Which one do you think is not part of the ecological model for assessment? Nine seconds left. Time is up. The correct answer is pragmatism. Therefore, evaluation, placement, and support are all part of the ecological model for assessment. All right, so based in the in-call messages class, I can see that most of you got the correct answer. Please give your hand a virtual clap, brother. All right, thank you so much. So I have one question for you, class. Based on the first activity that we had, which is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, what do you think is the importance of classroom assessment, especially in special education or individuals with special needs? Yes, Kier Ivan.
Sakit ng question, sir.
What do you think is the importance of classroom assessment, especially to the individuals with special needs?
I think, sir, identify the needs of the students and see of their disability.
All right, so thank you so much, Kier Ivan, for your answer. So classroom assessment class plays a pivotal role in ensuring the academic success and holistic development of children with disabilities. So by employing various assessment techniques tailored to individual needs, class educators can really effectively gauge students' progress, identify areas requiring additional support, and modify instructional strategies accordingly. So these assessment class not only provide valuable insights into our students' academic achievements, but also serve as a tool for fostering inclusivity and promoting a supportive learning environment. Moreover, class, we need to acknowledge the diverse learning styles and abilities of our children, especially those students with special needs. Are we clear, class, so far? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's proceed to the ecological model for assessment. So the ecological model for assessment, class, is a systematic approach used in special education to ensure that the needs of students with disabilities are met effectively. So there are 7, as you can see, folders here. So let us unfold each one. So first, we have determine who qualifies eligibility. Roden Jean Mancao, please read the PPT.
Based on assessment decision, this pertains to who will qualify to be categorized of certain disabilities.
Thank you so much. So first we have determine who qualifies, which is eligibility. For example, class, we have a student named Edwin, may struggle with reading comprehension and show signs of dyslexia. Through a comprehensive assessment class, including observations, standardized tests, and input from parents and teachers, Edwin eligibility for special education services is determined. So that is determined who qualifies for eligibility. Second, we have determine what to teach or program plan. After assessment, the IEP or the Individualized Education Program team will decide which program suits the needs of the child with disabilities. So based on Edwin's assessment result, class, just like what I have exampled a while ago, an individualized education program, or what we call the IEP, is developed. It outlines the specific goals and objectives, such as improving reading fluency and comprehension, as well as accommodations like audiobooks or text. Yeah, just like audiobooks or text-to-speech software to support his learning. All right, so let's proceed to folder number 3, which is determine how to teach or instruction. So based on the definition, class, this is designed through which the members of the IEP team decide on the strategies and methods to be used in executing the program plan for the child with disability. So Edwin, just like what I have exampled a while ago, Edwin's teacher employ research-based instructional strategies tailored to his learning style and needs. For instance, they may incorporate multisensory approaches like using manipulatives or visual aids to enhance his understanding of reading concepts. So far, class, are we good? Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So for number 4, can you please read Teresa de Jessica?
Determine where to which placement. Give details on a specific area or place to execute the program plan.
All right, thank you so much, Teresa de Jessica. So after considering Edwin's strength, challenges, and preferences, it is determined that he will receive reading instruction in a small group setting within the general education classroom, allowing his to benefit from both specialized support and peer interaction. That is what we call placement. Gives details on the specific area or place to execute the program plan. I think someone is raising their hand. All right, thank you so much. So let's proceed to number 5. Can you please read Marinel Libatan? Is she not around? How about Maria Cris Labonete?
Okay po, sir. Number 5. Determine how often to teach time. This entails the time allotment for each program so that child with disability would gain adequate training that would facilitate learning.
All right, thank you so much. From the word itself, class, how often? So this refers to time. So Edwin's IEP specifies the frequency and duration of reading instruction sessions. So he will receive targeted reading intervention for 45 minutes, 4 times a week to ensure a consistent practice and progress monitoring for his disability. So next we have determine who will teach it, or what we call support. Enlist qualified persons to execute the program plan for the child. So in addition, class, to his teacher, Edwin may work with a reading specialist or special education teacher who provides supplemental support and expertise in addressing his specific learning needs. So we have number 7. Can you please read Rudin Jean Mancao?
Determine how well it was taught. Evaluation. Evaluation follows to ensure that the program is properly executed and if necessary adjustment to be done in order to meet the needs of the child with disability.
All right, thank you so much. So from the word itself, how well it was taught, therefore we're talking about evaluation. So progress monitoring is conducted regularly to assess Edwin's growth and the effectiveness of the instructional strategies implemented. So these may involve class informal assessments such as weekly reading comprehension checks, as well as formal evaluations to measure his overall reading proficiency over time. So in summary, class, the ecological model for assessment ensures a comprehensive and individualized approach to meeting the educational needs of students with disabilities, just like Edwin, by addressing key concepts such as what we call first, the eligibility, second, the program planning, third, the instruction, fourth, the placement, 5, we have the time allocation, 6, we have the support, and lastly, this evaluation. So far, class, do you have any questions, clarifications?
None po, sir.
None po, sir.
All right, so thank you so much. So let's proceed. So in determining who qualifies for the assessment process, the following questions are considered. Jasper Jean Vino, can you please read the number 1?
Okay, number 1 is, what assessment data will justify a child from not qualifying for an adapted educational program?
So thank you so much for reading. Number 1, we have assessment data that may justify a child not qualifying for an adapted educational program. So this typically, class, includes evidence that the child is meeting academic benchmarks and developmental milestones comparable to their peers without the need for significant modifications or specialized instruction. So additionally, class, this may involve standardized test scores, classroom performance observations, and input from teachers and parents indicating that the child's learning needs can be adequately addressed within the general education curriculum without the need for additional support. So are we good, class? Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. For number 2, can you please read Jennifer Generale?
Okay, so number 2, what assessment data will justify a child requiring special accommodations to be successful in school but without IEP goals and objectives?
So thank you so much. So assessment data that may justify a child requiring special accommodations to be successful in school but without IEP goals and objectives could include evidence of specific learning challenges or disabilities that impact the child's ability to access what we call the curriculum on an equal basis with their peers. Sorry, class. So these might involve assessments such as the, the psychoeducational evaluations, diagnostic assessment test, and observations indicating the need for accommodations like extended time on test, preferential seating, or assistive technology to support the child's learning and participation in the general education environment. So lastly, we have assessment data will justify a child qualifying for special education services, including goals and objectives on his IEP. So assessment data class that may justify a child qualifying for special education services, including goals and objectives on their individualized educational program, or what we call the IEP, typically involves usually comprehensive evaluations indicating significant academic, developmental, or behavioral concerns that require specialized instruction and support. So in conclusion, class, assessment data plays a crucial role in determining the educational supports and services needed for children with diverse learning needs, whether justifying the eligibility for adapted educational program, identifying the need for need for accommodation, or qualifying for special education services. Thorough assessment process ensure that decisions are based on comprehensive understanding of each child's strength, challenges, and individualized learning requirements. So far, class, do you have any questions? Clarifications?
None so far, sir.
None po, sir.
None po.
All right, if you have no question, I want you to please, all right, thank you. So if you really have no question, I want you to use your emoji like hand there. Can you please send me an emoji like hand if you have no questions at all? All right, so thank you. So let's proceed to common areas. All right, so let's proceed to common areas to assess for individuals with special needs: fitness, motor ability, and social behavioral skills. So let me next the slide. There, fitness. So when we talk about fitness, class, diba, it refers to the overall physical health and well-being. All right. So when we talk about fitness, class, again, it refers to the overall physical health and well-being, diba, of an individual, including factors such as cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, flexibility, and body composition. So as you can see here are the components of fitness for making a rubric, especially for those individuals with special needs. We have the endurance, flexibility, strength, and body composition. So as you can see now, that is the example of criteria used for individuals with special needs, that if you want to test their physical, I mean the fitness component. So we have here the use of correct skills at precise time, demonstrate the correct position when tasked to perform a movement, or uses appropriate body movement to reach goals. So vividly, we can read that all of the components here in the criteria were really focused on the fitness aspect. Motor ability. So when we talk about motor ability class, this refers to individuals' capacity to perform physical movements, right? Effectively and of course, efficiently. So this includes both gross motor skills like involving larger muscles groups for activities like walking or jumping, and fine motor skills involving like writing or buttoning your shirt. So here in motor ability, it has balance, speed, agility, eye-hand or foot coordination. So there, as you can see, here are the components or the category for the motor ability. Writing own name, drawing, cutting different objects. And of course, the scores that the students who have the scores of the students who have special needs may vary, of course, to the capacity of that children from 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So the importance of motor ability class, it impacts an individual's ability to participate in activities of daily living, engage in leisure activities, and how do you call that? Navigate the environment and interact with others. So addressing motor challenges can improve independence and overall functioning. So far, class, do you have any questions?
And po, sir.
Answer.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. But if you have any questions, clarifications, do not hesitate to raise your hand so that we could address that right away. All right. Let's proceed to the last one, which is the social or the behavioral skills. So based on the definition, social and behavioral skills encompasses a wide range of abilities. So these may relate to interaction with each others, emotional regulation, communication, problem solving, and adaptive behaviors. So as you can see, it has self-control, following directions, staying on task, coping with frustrations and conflict, positive attitude, safety skills, and I think so on and so forth. So the importance of social and behavioral skills class, it is critical for building relationships, no? From the title itself, social and behavioral skills, participating in social activities, succeeding in academic and vocational settings, and achieving overall well-being. So addressing social and behavioral challenges can improve social inclusion, peer relationship, and of course, the overall quality of life. So assessing these three areas class comprehensively allows professionals such as teachers, parents, and others to develop individualized intervention plans aimed at promoting the overall development, independence, and well-being of individuals with special needs. So far, class, are we good? Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for your response. So here is the example of the social and behavioral skills. So based on the category, we have the knowledge of the key aspect of the game, the ability to understand and follow the rules of the game, the ability to construct a variety of questions, types to help solve game and problem. To the instructor or to their teacher. So let's proceed to holistic rubric creation. So holistic rubric class. So when I talk about holistic rubrics for special education, this may include in one rubric for all types of areas such as the fitness, the behavioral, the emotional aspect, the motor ability, and so on and so forth. So for example, number one, a student is to interact with his classmates using appropriate behaviors during recess at the playground. The teacher may videotape the interaction for accurate documentation. So in the category one, we can talk about the social and behavioral. They initiate the interaction with each other. So here, it is a social and behavioral skills. Second, we have plays, game with classmates from start to finish. So this may include fitness, motor ability, and of course, the social and behavioral aspect, because he or she needs to play the game with his or her classmates. And lastly, end game and recess appropriately. So for example, number two, we have a student is to have a short conversation with a friend focusing on 3 different topics. We have keeps comment brief, listens without interrupting, shows interest. So based on these rubric class, it has prompts to do not result to demonstration of the skills, prompt result to demonstration of skills, and of course the independent. So the scores that the individual with special needs will also vary on the performance that she's showing or giving to his or her instruction. So question class, clarification so far?
None po, sir.
All right, so thank you so much, class. So I guess this is my end now for my topic. So I would like to introduce to you the other half teacher of this night, which is teacher Judy Jane Bakaling. Teacher Judy Jane, are you here?
Yes, sir. Okay, good evening, class. Are you still... Okay, sir. Good evening, class. Are you still there? Are we still alive? All right, if you are still there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you are still there, please use your in-call messages and chat there that I am still present, ma'am. Okay, so well, good evening, everyone. So I am teacher Judy Jane, and this is a continuation of our discussion night class. Okay.
So when we start testing for cognitive learning, what comes to your mind, class? Anyone? Yes, Jasper Jean Invino.
And my own perception, ma'am, about conducive learning is about ventilated environment for the student to be able nga comfortable sa isa ka classroom nga maka-learn sila, ma'am. Like, kanang dili igang or makalihok jud ang mga students o kanang walay sasaw sa ilang pananaw, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Invino. Very well said. So when we say assessing for conducive learning, it means it involves evaluating factors that create an optimal environment for learning to occur. So this includes considering physical, social, emotional, and instructional elements within the learning environment. By assessing these factors, educators can tailor their approach to better support student learning engagement. And also, educators can create an environment that fosters active engagement, critical thinking, and full learning experiences for students' class. So, next, Sir Edwin. Okay. So, there are 6 types of assessing for conducive learning. Take note, class. The following are the essential characteristics when deciding what to teach that with disability. First is determining. So, kindly please read Mangkaw.
Unsang number, ma'am?
Determining what
Kani
to
tanan?
teach. Yes.
Determining what to teach. Number one, create a top-down plan and indicate what assessment information is necessary. Number two, define targeted skills within top-down plan. Number three, determine students' preset level of performance or PLOP on targeted skills.
Okay, thank you, Kao. So when we say determining what to class, for students, these abilities involves considering individual needs and also trends, learning styles while ensuring access to appropriate accommodations and support services. So first is create a top-down plan and indicate that assessment information is necessary. So as a teacher or as a few educators class, we need to create a top-down plan to establish learning objectives and also design curriculum and implement instruction strategies. So the necessary assessment information includes assessment data on formative feedback and also summative evaluations to measure learning outcomes. Accommodations assessment ensures support for students with disabilities. So second one is the get skills with the top-down. So it means any class targeted skills within a top-down plan for a child with disabilities, specific abilities or competencies tailored to their individual needs, considering their strengths, challenges, and accommodations. So for example, Annie, for example of skills within a top-down plan for a child with disability, it could be involved focusing on social emotional skills such as self-regulation, emotional awareness, and social communication for a child with autism spectrum disorder or ASD. So take note class, this might include teaching strategies for recognizing emotions, understanding social cues, and developing coping mechanism for managing sensory sensitivities or anxiety in social situations. So, any question class?
None, ma'am.
Then, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the response class. So the third one is determine. Okay, balik ko Sir Edwin. So the third one, determine students' present level of performance PLOP ang target skills. So it means put any class assessing the present level of performance or PLOP. It helps identify the students' current abilities and challenges in key areas, guiding the development of tailored educational plans to support their learning needs effectively. This evaluation informs educators about where the students is starting from and provides a roadmap for setting achievable learning objectives. So, for example, class in reading intervention program, assessing a student's PLOP might involve administering a reading comprehension assessment to determine their current level of understanding and identifying specific areas where they struggle, such as decoding unfamiliar words or comprehending complex text. This information helps educators design targeted instruction to address the students' individual needs and improve their reading skills over time. Next, Sir Edwin. So, Lisera, please read number 4.
How these skills will be assessed.
Do you have any idea for that?
Wala, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So,
Specify how these skills will be assessed. It means, class, skills can be assessed through various methods such as observation, standardized tests, informal assessment, also portfolios, and performance tasks. The specific assessment method chosen depends on the nature of the skills being evaluated, the age and developmental level of the student, and the goals of the assessment. So, for example, aning specify how these skills will be assessed, class, is that, for instance, to assess a student's writing skills, educators might use a combination of methods, including analyzing samples of the students' writing, observing their writing process, and also administering standardized writing tests. And also, this comprehensive approach provides insights into the student's strengths and areas needing improvement in writing. So please read Generale number 5.
Kuan, ma'am. Number 5, develop students' IEP goals and objectives that will match the child's PLOP, or the present learning of performance.
Basa ni Generale, creating individualized education program or IEP goals and objectives involves aligning them with the student's present level of performance, or PLOP. So, for example of that, class, is that if a student PLOP, or present level of performance, indicates difficulty with reading comprehension, an IEP goal might be the student will increase the reading comprehension skills by accurately answering comprehension question at the 4th grade level with 80% accuracy by the end of the school year. So the objectives would outline the steps and benchmark to achieve this goal tailored to the student's specific needs and abilities. Number 6, Engbino, please read.
Okay, ma'am. Number 6 is determine how to teach.
So determining how to teach, it involves considering the student's learning style, strengths, and challenges, as well as evidence-based instructional strategies and accommodations. So, for example of that, class, is that student learns best through visual aids. Teachers might incorporate diagrams, charts, and videos into their lesson. Additionally, any class, differentiation of techniques can be used to meet the diverse needs of students within the classroom. Please go next, Sir Edwin. The second one is determining necessity. So when we say determining necessity, class, take note, it involves assessing what changes or adjustments are required based on the individual needs of the child with a disability. So first, instructional modifications. Please read Labonete.
Okay po, ma'am. Number 1, instructional modifications. Instruction is modified specifically in the general education program. During its modification, it changes the terms of goals, expectations, level of performance, or content.
Okay. So when we say instructional modification, class, are changes made to teaching methods, materials, or assessment to accommodate learning needs of students with disabilities. For example of that, class, is the instructional modification for a child with a disability could be providing extra time for completing assignments or assessments. Other examples are using hands-on learning activities, providing peer support, or adjusting the presentation of information to accommodate different learning styles. So kinahanglan nga maghatag kag instructional modification sa imuhang estudyante nga na ay mga difficulty sa pagbasa, reading, and other nga okay. So the second one is the curricular modifications. So guys, please read.
Number 2, ma'am.
Yes.
Curricular modification, as defined by DepEd, it means students under special education follow the basic curriculum of general education, but it is modified according to their needs. Curriculum differs depending on the condition of the child.
Curricular modification for determining necessity, it involves adapting the curriculum to accommodate the needs of students with disabilities. So, for example, any class is that could be modifying the grading criteria for a student with a physical disability who struggled with handwriting, allowing them to complete assignments using a computer or dictate their answer to a scribe. So the third one is equipment modification. So when we say equipment modification, these are modifications done with different equipment necessary during the teaching learning process to fit into the disability of the child so that the child would be able to function in the least restrictive environment. So additionally, in a class, equipment modifications, it involves adapting tools or devices to better suit the needs of the person with a disability. So for example, any equipment modification, it could be adding grips or handles or utensils to make them easier to hold for someone with limited hand mobility. So another example, any could be adjusting the height of a desk or a table to accommodate or a wheelchair using making it easier for them to access and use the surface. Sorry. Next go, Sir Edwin. So determining where to teach. So when we say determining where to teach class, it involves deciding on the most suitable learning environment for a student with a disability. So first is the general physical education or no support. Basa ko, Angelo.
Yes, ma'am. Number 2 po.
Number 1.
Okay, number one, general physical education or no support. The child with disability stays with a group where full inclusion is done. The child participates in all activities similar to regular education students.
Thank you, Angelo. So general physical education class with no support is a teaching physical education without any additional assistance or support, meaning the students participates in the regular PE class without specialized accommodations or modification. So for example, Annie could be a student with a disability participating in a regular soccer game alongside their classmates without any specialized equipment or assistance. So the second one is the general physical education support. Basa ko, Mangkaw.
Okay, ma'am. Asan ni ma'am? Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, generic physical education. Support. The child participates with a group provided that modifications will be done to ensure the child with a disability can perform tasks similar to regular education children.
Thank you. So when we say general physical education support, teaching physical education with additional support or accommodations to meet the needs of students with disabilities class. So, muhatag ko ang example. It involves providing modified equipment such as larger balls or adaptive sports equipment to accommodate students with physical disabilities, it ensuring they can fully participate in activities along their peers. Na siya kibali support sa ikaw nga as a teacher ka class na kibali support nga imong ihatag sa imong students nga naay disabilities in anak class. Kagaina no support. Karon na siya support. So, number 3 is the general part-time pull-out system. Basa ko Rexosa.
A number, ma'am.
Number 3.
Yes, ma'am. Number 3, part-time general part-time pull-out system. The child with a disability is pulled out from the regular class scheduled to attend modified instructional programs.
Thank you. So it means anak class, a system students spend more some time in regular classes and some time separate specialized instruction sessions. So example ani, part-time general, part-time pull-out system could be student with disabilities spending part of their school day regular classes with their peers and then receiving additional support or specialized instruction in a separate setting for certain subject or activities class. So next go, Sir Edwin. So number 4, full-time pull-out for special education for small group. Galindez, basa. Basa number 4.
Opo. Number 4, full-time pull-out for special education for small group. So the child is pulled out from a specific program to participate in a small group to mainstream or be included in an inclusion program.
Okay, thank you. So a student with a disability receiving full-time special education services in a small group setting where they are taught separately from their peers for all subjects or activities. Example of full-time pull-out special education program for a small group could be a class of students with similar learning needs receiving instruction in a separate classroom with a special education teacher for entirety the school day. So number 5, full-time pull-out special education for one-on-one. So the child is regularly pulled out from the regular education program to one-on-one special education class, usually with a specialist. So for one-on-one, full-time pull-out special education means students with a special needs spends the entire school day in a separate classroom or setting, receiving individualized instruction and also support tailored to their unique learning needs. Example might be a student with autism spectrum disorder or ASD who spend their entire school day in a specialized classroom working with a dedicated special education teacher on communication skills social interactions, and also academic goals, class. Any question, class? Natay question, clarification? None? Okay, thank you. Next, Dr. Edwin. Next ko, sir. Determining who will teach. First is peer from same class. Peer from same class, a classmate helps with learning tasks. So example, any class is a student helps their friend understand math problems during class. So naa siya kanang collaboration among other classmates. Naa siya kanang brainstorming bitaw sa ilahang grupo, or na sila collaboration sa ilahang matag-usa anak class mo na ang peer sa same class. Mo na siya ang helps their friend understanding math problems during class day. So the second one is older peer from different class. Gawa sa mo to. Older peer from a different class, an older student assists with learning activities. So example, put any class, a high school student mentors a younger student during reading session. Okay, number 3. Paid teacher assistant. Paid teacher assistant, a trained assistant, supports the teacher in delivering lessons and managing the classroom. Example put ani, an aide helps a teacher in a special education classroom by providing one-on-one support to students. Na ay kibali support sa imuhang student, ikaw nga teacher na kay support sa imuhang students nga na ay mga disability. So the 4 specialist PT or OT. So when we say PT, physical therapist. So mingon taog OT, occupational therapist. So specialist PT or OT, professionals like physical therapists or occupational therapists provide specialized services to address specific needs. So example, any class, physical therapists work with a student to improve their motor skills through tailored exercise. Kanang kaning physical therapist class, kaning mga specialist mo na siya ang mutabang sa kanang students nga naay disability na kapansanan. Next ko, Sir Edwin. Next ko, sir. Next pa ko, sir. So, pakibalik ko, sir. So, basic means assessment. Next, sir. First is observation. The observation class in the classroom involves teachers or evaluators watching students' behavior, interactions, and performance to assess their learning progress and understanding. For example, in the classroom scenario. In the classroom is a teacher watching how students collaborate during a group activity to assess their communication skills and teamwork abilities. So So si teacher class nag-observe sa siyahang mga estudyante on how students collaborate during a group activity. Nag-observe si teacher kung sa iyang mga students collaborate, mag-teamwork sa silang grupo. Anak, mao na siya ang observation. So the second is analysis of students' work. So it involves examining assignments, projects, tests, or other artifacts created by students to assess their understanding skills and knowledge in a particular subject or topic. So example, ani, a teacher reviewing alternative assignments or modified assessments tailored to accommodate the students' specific needs, such as providing audio recordings or visual aids for a student with visual impairment. So kinahanglan ani, ikaw nga as a teacher nga naay visual impairment ay imong student, so kinahanglan nga mag-provide ka og visual aids nga ihang imong dagkuan imong mga letra. I said ni Ma'am Dayot nga kinahanglan na naay maka-encounter mo og kanang student nga naay visual impairment, kinahanglan nga ipaduol nimo sa atubangan, and ang imuhang visual aids is padak-an nimo ang mga letter para ma-recognize iyahang. So next one is task analysis. So task analysis, it involves breaking down a complex skill or activity into smaller, manageable steps to understand the sequence of actions required for successful completion. So example for any class is that breaking down the process of solving a math problem into a smaller steps. Next, Edwin. Classroom assessment. There are two types of classroom assessment. First is unobtrusive and obtrusive. So first is direct. So when we say direct class, assessment in the classroom is when students are aware that they are being assessed, and the assessment is explicitly designed to measure specific learning outcomes. So when we say unobtrusive, it means class in the classroom is when a student are assessed without them realizing they're being assessed. Take note, class, without them realizing being assessed, without an objective. So observation. Observation in the classroom involves teacher or evaluators watching students' behavior, interactions, and also performance to assess their learning progress and understanding. So, example ani in the classroom scenario. For example, ani class itong gihatag na ko ganina nga si teacher nagpa-group activity siya niya, nag-observe sa siyang mga students how students collaborate during a group activity, and also to assess their communication skills and teamwork abilities. And also analysis of student work. Same magyapon sa akong giingon ganina. Ako na ni siya ang na-discuss class. So, proceed ta sa obtrusive. Informal inventories. Informal inventories in the classroom assessment with disability may involve using non-standardized tools like teacher observations, student interviews, or checklists specifically tailored to accommodate the needs and abilities of students with disabilities, to gather information about their learning progress, strengths, and areas needing support. So example, an informational informal inventories. In the classroom assessment with a disability could be a teacher conducting a structured observation of the student with ASD or autism spectrum disorder. During social interactions, noting their communication abilities, sensory sensitivities, and also social engagement levels to inform instructional planning and support strategies class. So classroom quizzes. So ang classroom quizzes po class are brief assessments administered by teachers to gauge students' understanding of a particular topic or lesson. So si teacher, pag human og tackle ni teacher, so magpa-quiz man yun na si teacher jud pag human yun no kung unsa jud ang nasabtan or unsa na-learn sa iyang mga students. Mao na ang classroom quizzes class. So criterion reference test measures a student's performance against a specific set of criteria or standards rather than comparing their performance to that or other students. So example of criterion reference test class is a spelling test where students need to correctly spell a certain numbers of words to demonstrate mastery regardless of how their classmate perform. The next one is diagnostic prods and diagnostic teaching. Diagnostic prods are tools for assessment used by teachers to identify students' strengths, weaknesses, and misconceptions in a particular subject or skill area. So, ngayon po tawag diagnostic teaching class, it involves using the information gathered from diagnostic prods to tailor instruction and provide targeted support to address students' specific learning needs. And also substructive direct curriculum-based measurement. So, CBM or curriculum-based measurement is an assessment method used to monitor students' progress in key academic areas by regularly measuring their performance on specific skills or tasks directly related to the curriculum. So example is that regularly assessing students' reading fluency by having them read a passage aloud and recording the number of words. Read correctly with a specified time frame such as 1 minute. So indirect. As you can see class, unobtrusive, walay nakabutang sa unobtrusive. So proceed ta sa obtrusive. So first is the checklist and rating skills. So when we say checklist and rating skills are assessment tools used by teachers to systematically observe and evaluate students' behaviors, skills, or performance based on predetermined criteria. So checklist involves marking whether specific behaviors or skills are present or absent. Rating skills involve assigning scores or rating to indicate the extent to which a behavior or skill is demonstrated. Next, Edwin. Basa ko, Generale. Labonete.
Different Number 1, narrative report. This is the less structured type of observation. Boring. 1999, wherein the observers place the events in writing.
So narrative report is the least structure. So narrative report is a tool for observation that presents information in a story-like format, often describing events, experiences, or observations sequentially. So example of narrative report class is during recess scenario. So I saw Alex playing soccer with his friends while Maya sat alone on a bench. Watching, even though Maya seemed hesitant to join in, she eventually joined the game after some encouragement from her classmate. So si Maya, she eventually joined the game after some encouragement from her classmates. So si Maya is ni-join na siya sa pag-play og soccer. Second one is anecdotal record. Is the description maybe one type of event. So an additional anecdotal record is a tool for observation where specific incidents or behaviors are noted as they occur, providing a detailed snapshot of an individual actions or actions in a particular situation. So example is during reading time. So John struggled with a difficult word. He furrowed his brow and then rounded it out slowly. So after a few tries, he successfully pronounced the word and continued reading with a proud smile. So si John is struggle kasi sa what if matagtag word nga narrative. Si John kay maglisod siya og kanang litok anang narrative. So after nga siya kanang sa gitawag aning try gani. Siya try nga ma-cope up na niya ang word nga yang gikalisuran. So after a few tries, he successfully pronounced the word. So he is very happy nga iyang na-cope up na to niya ang iyang struggle nga word nga di niya masulti. So the third one is the ethnographic record. Go Generale.
Okay, ma'am. Ethnographic record is the description, maybe a series of events.
So ethnographic record is a tool for observation that documents detailed descriptions of cultural behaviors, practices, and interactions with a specific group or community. So example, ani, at a community festival, I noticed a tradition where families gathered in a circle to share food and stories. So this practice showcased the importance of community bonds and oral traditions with the cultural group. Yes. Okay. Number 4, continuous recording, narrative recording. Read ko, Jessica. Galindez.
Asani, ma'am.
Number 4.
Okay, number 4, continuous recording or narrative recording provides preliminary information to help the teacher determine if there is a problem that requires further study.
So, continuous recording or narrative recording class, also known as a narrative recording. Involves documenting every instance of a particular behavior or event as it occurs, providing a detailed and ongoing account of the subject's actions or interactions over a specific period. So example ani is sa classroom behavior, observation. Sa alas 9 sa buntag. So si Sarah entered the classroom and greeted her classmate with a smile. So sa 9:05 a.m., during the math lesson, Sarah raised her hand to answer a question but was not called on by the teacher. So sa 9:15 a.m., si Sarah whispered to her neighbor during independent work time and giggled. During 9:30 a.m., so the teacher praised Sarah her participation during the discussion. So this continuous recording provides a chronological account of Sarah's behavior in the classroom throughout the morning. Next ko. Steps in observing students' behavior. Next, type of behavior. Next. So class, take note, there are two types of behavior. First is the discrete behaviors. Go, this. Okay, wala tayong minute.
Discrete behavior is the behaviors that have clearly defined beginnings and endings, can be measured by counting the frequency or timing the duration. Examples, writing and spelling words, reading, and a paragraph aloud.
So discrete behaviors class are specific identifiable actions or reactions that occur individually and separately from one another, often with a clear beginnings and endings. So example ani is observation again. So si Sarah raised her hand to ask a question during the math lesson. So si Michael turned to his neighbor and whispered during independent work time. Emily Napod signed and rolled her eyes when the teacher assigned homework. So si Alex smiled and nodded when praised for his contribution to the group discussion. So each behavior listed is distinct and can be observed as a separate action. Muna siya ang discrete behaviors class. So, any question class? Clarification?
None, ma'am.
None, ma'am.
None, ma'am. Okay, proceed class. Letter B. Not discrete behaviors. Read ko, Mangkaw.
Not discrete behaviors. Measurable behaviors during any given time period because an observer can determine whether a student is displaying any behavior. Example, it is difficult to detect the precise starting and ending points of behavior, such as staying on task and swearing on classroom.
Thank you, Mangkaw. So, not discrete behaviors class are actions or events that can't easily counted or measured, like emotions, attitudes sa imong mga student, emotion, or complex social interactions sa imong mga students class, mga anak bitaw, mga not discrete behaviors class. Next ko, Sir Edwin. Select a measurement system. A. Event recording. Generally, please read.
Discrete behavior letter A. Event, nawala, Sir Edwin. ang PPT.
Gaya no?
Hinaan na. A discrete behavior, letter A. Event recording is the frequency of a behavior noted in the system. The observer simply makes a notation each time the behavior of interest occurs.
So, sa event recording class is a method used in behavioral observation to track and record specific occurrences of a behavior as they happen. It also involves noting each instance of the behavior of your students, including the time and circumstances surrounding it. So, si event recording class is mo na siyang behavioral observation sa imong mga student with disabilities. So, the second one is duration recording. So, duration recording happens when the observer records the time a behavior begins and the time it ends to determine its length. So, keeping track of how long something lasts or take place, it's about measuring the time from the beginning to the end of an event or activity. Duration, usa gyud ang duration class?
I-record ang ma'am, behavior, ma'am. I-record ang behavior sa students, ma'am. Kung ano mga changes na naitabo, ma'am, during that time, ma'am.
Very well said, Ayo Garcia, no? Mo to i-record nimo ang yes, kuan kayo. I-record nimo ang time sa mga kuan sa mga students. So, letter C, latency recording. So, when you say latency recording class, it involves measuring the time it takes for a specific action or event to occur after a particular stimulus. So, it's often used in a various fields like computing, telecommunications, and psychology to evaluate performance or response time. Kani ang latency recording class, mo na siya ang gina-measure po niya ang time. And also for a specific action or event, a particular stimulus. Kani latency, mo na siya ang gina-measure niya ang time sa mga students. Sa lang ginagamak silang kuan. Next ko, Sir Edwin. For non-discrete behavior class are continuous actions or activities that do not have clear, take note class, do not have clear, distinct start and end points, making them challenging to measure using traditional methods. So, for example, for non-discrete behavior class, it includes like talking, walking, or eating. So, several variations of interval recording and time sampling are as follow. So, first is whole interval recording. Basa ko, Sarah.
Asa diri, ma'am?
Letter A.
A. Whole interval recording. The student is observed for the entire interval and the observer notes if the target behavior occurs continuously throughout the interval. Observation intervals are very brief, usually only a few seconds.
Okay, thank you, Lucera. So, whole time interval recording class is a method used in a behavioral observation to measure the occurrence of a behavior of your students within a specified time interval. So in a whole interval recording, the observer records whether the behavior occurs throughout the entire interval, so that if the behavior is observed for the entire duration of the interval, it is recorded as present. Otherwise, it is recorded as absent. So this method is useful for capturing behaviors that tend to sleep or for extended periods. So that is whole time recording. So second one is the partial interval recording. So partial interval recording, the student is observed for the interval, but the observer only notes if behavior occurred at least once during the interval. Again, observation intervals are very brief. So partial interval time recording class is another method used in behavioral observation again to measure the occurrence of a behavior within a specified time interval. So in these methods, the observer records whether the behavior occurs and any point during each interval, regardless of its duration, if the behavior occurs at any time during the interval, it is recorded as present. Otherwise, it is recorded as absent. So this approach is useful for behaviors that may occur intermittently or sporadically within the observation period class. So letter C, read Coinbino.
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay.
Letter C is momentary time sampling. The student is observed only at the end of each interval. At that time, the observer checks to see if the behavior is occurring. Intervals are usually longer, 3, 5, or even 15 minutes.
So si momentary time sampling is a technique, take note class, is a technique used in behavioral observation of your students with a disability to measure the occurrence of the behavior at specific moments with a predetermined time interval. Instead of continuously monitoring the behavior, the observer records whether the behavior is occurring at the exact moment when each interval ends. So this method class provides a snapshot of behavior at discrete points in time, making it less time consuming than continuous observation methods. So usually longer niya is 3 to 5 or even 15 minutes ang iyang momentary time sampling class. Next ko, sir. Set 3. Set up the data collection system. So questions to be answered include the following. Letter A. When and where will be the observation take place? So listen, class, because this is very important. The observation will take place at predetermined intervals, and it can happen anywhere the behavior occurs. So the observation intervals are predetermined, typically spaced evenly throughout the observation period. So the observation can occur in any setting where the behavior of interest occurs, such as a classroom, homework, workplace, or outdoor environment. Outdoor environment class. So letter B, how many observation periods will be there? B, and how frequently will this occur? So the number of observation periods and their frequency depend on the specific study or observation plan. Typically, multiple observation periods are used throughout the day, with intervals ranging from a few minutes to an hour, depending on the behavior being studied and the goals of the observer. So the letter C, who will act as the observer? So the observer is usually someone trained in behavioral observation techniques, such as a psychologist, researcher, teacher, or behavioral therapist class. So letter D, how will observable data be recorded? So observable data can be recorded using various methods, including pen and paper, digital devices, or specialized software designed for behavioral observation. So the observer may use tally marks, checkbox, or digital input methods to record the occurrences or absence of the behavior during each observation interval. So mao na siya ang set up the data collection system class. Any question, class? Clarifications? Ay, lagi ko. Okay.
Not po, ma'am.
Okay. Next, sir.
Ma'am.
Sir. Okay. So, classroom observation techniques for students. So, listen mo, class. So, letter A, it is necessary to stop teaching to observe. In fact, it is almost impossible to teach without observing. Try the following suggestion for integrating observations into your classroom procedures. So, there are 6 techniques for teachers class observation class. So first is carry a small card such as an index card. List the name of the 2 target students and the problem behaviors you wish to observe on the card. And also require students to record on their in-class work, their starting and finishing time, and also carry a stopwatch to measure the durations of behaviors. And to count behaviors without interfering with the operation of the class, use wrist counters, market counters, paper clips, move from the one pocket to another, navy beans in the cup, and other inexpensive devices. And also have a sitting chart in front of you as you talk to the class. And also, class, recruit volunteers to observe in the classroom. So that is the classroom observation techniques for teachers class. Next. Assessment standards in a special education. So first is normative groups. Normative groups allow the teachers to compare one person's performance to the performance of others in the child. So when we say normative groups, in the
Excuse
context of
me po,
assessment.
ma'am. Di madungog po.
Hello, dungog ko?
Yes po, kana po, ma'am.
Okay, nawala na pong signal, sir. So when we say normative group class, in the context of assessment of standardized testing refers to the group of individuals against whom a test taker's performance is compared. This group is often representative of a larger population or a specific demographic such as age, gender, education level, or other relevant characteristics. So by comparing an individual's performance to that class of the normative group, educators and psychologists can interpret the significance of their scores and determine how they compare to the typical or effective performance levels with that group. So that is the normative group class. Any clarification, identification, class?
None, ma'am.
Okay. Proceed na sa validity. So when we say validity, the extent to which a test measures what its authors or users claim it measures. Salvia et al. 2010. Quality assessment is essential for teachers to track the progress of their students. So, validity in the context of assessment class or research, it refers to the degree to which a test or study measures what it claims to measure. It assesses the accuracy and appropriateness of the inferences or conclusions drawn from the results. So validity is very essential to ensure that the test or study accurately reflects the construct, trait, or concept it intends to measure. So there are two types of validity class. Next ko, sir. Types of validity. First is content validity. It's a logical process where connections between the test items and the job-related tasks are established. So, content validity class is a test or assessment adequately covers the full range of content or material that it is supposed to measure. In other words, it assesses whether the items or questions on the test represent the breadth and depth of the subject matter or construct being assessed of your students. So the second type of validity is concurrent validity. Please read in Bino.
Okay, ma'am. Concurrent validity is a statistical method using correlation rather than a logical method.
So, concurrent validity class is a type of validity that measures how well the results of a new test compare to those of an established test or criterion that assess the same construct at the same time. Mo ni siya ang gina-measure po niya ang results sa kanang gama sa imuha sa young students. Gina-measure gyud po niya. So, predictive validity is similar to the concurrent validity. That is, it measures the relationship between examinees' performance in the test and their actual status. So, predictive validity is a test or assessment predicts future performance or behavior related to the construct it measures. In other words, it can also assess whether the scores or obtained on the test can forecast how individual will perform on a future criterion or outcome of the predicts assessment. And also, face validity class is determined by a review of the items and not through the use of statistical analysis. So, the face validity class is a test or assessment appears on the surface to measure what it is intended to measure. It is subjective ba or judgment based on how well the test items or question align with the intended construct or domain being assessed. So, face validity class does not provide empirical evidence of validity but rather reflects the superficial impression that the test is valid based on its appearance. Next ko, sir. So, universal design for special education. So when we say universal design for special education class, is that designing educational environments, materials, and activities in a way that accommodates the diverse needs of the learners, including those with disabilities, without the need for separate adaptations or modifications. So, Masses 1977, there are 7 principles of the universal design. So first is equitable use. Please read Inerali.
Equitable use.
Galendes.
Equitable
Sige, ma'am.
use is useful and marketable to people with disabilities.
Okay, thank you. So equitable use means designing products, environments, and systems to be usable by all people, regardless of their abilities or disabilities. So example, any class is designing a playground with ramps alongside stairs so that children who use wheelchairs can access all areas of a playground, just like the peers who can walk. So the second principle of universal design is flexibility in use. So flexibility in use, the design can accommodate a wide range of individual preferences. So in the flexibility in use, designing products, environments, and systems to accommodate a wide range of individual preferences and abilities. So example, any class is adjustable height desk in the classroom, allowing students to comfortably work while standing or sitting, depending on their individual needs and preferences. So the third one is the simple and intuitive or use. The use of design is easy to understand. So simple and intuitive use means designing products, environments also, and systems that are easy to understand and operate even more people with diverse abilities or without prior instruction. So, ang example po ni class is designing a smartphone with a clear icons and straightforward navigation menus so that user of all abilities can easily find and use the features they need without confusions. So the fourth one is that a perceptible information. Pakiread ko, Kalindes.
Number 2, flexibility in use, ma'am.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Perceptible information. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user.
So, kaning perceptible information class, designing products also, environments, and systems so that important information is easily perceivable by all users, regardless of their sensory abilities. So, ang example po ani niya is both visual and auditory alerts on a digital device, such as a smartphone, to notify users of incoming messages or notifications, ensuring that the users with the visual or hearing impairments can still receive important information. So the fifth one is tolerance for error. So when we say tolerance for error class, it means designing products, these environments, and systems to minimize the likelihood and impact of errors, allowing for safe and easy use even if mistakes are made. So ang example po aning tolerance for error class is a systems to be used efficiently. Impact errors, allowing for safe and easy use even if mistakes are made. So that is the tolerance for error. So the 6 is a low physical effort. Please read Desira.
Ma'am.
6.
low physical effort. The design can be used efficiently and comfortably with a level of fatigue.
Okay. So, mayroon tag low physical effort class. A system to be used efficiently and comfortably with minimal physical exertion or strain. So, ang example ani class, katong mga low key lang ang mga kuan ba, ang ilang mga physical effort ana class. So the last one is size and space for approach and use. So appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulation, and use. So size and space for approach, system with adequate room and accessibility for users to approach, manipulate, and operate them comfortably and safely class. So that is the universal design for special education class. For Massey 1977, the 7 principles of the universal design. Any clarification class? Question?
None po, ma'am.
None? If wala, kindly Sir Edwin.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Teacher Judy. So do you have any questions, clarification class, before we proceed to our second activity?
None po, sir.
All right, thank you. So for your second activity, you need to create a fitness rubric for individual with special needs. So I will only give you 10 minutes to do it. So here are the criteria: quality of writing and grammar of usage. Grammar usage. All right, very good, class. So your output are very so good. So before we end our lesson, let us go back to our learning objectives to check what we have attained so far. First, we are able to identify the different ecological models for assessment and children with disability. Second, we are able to value the importance of classroom assessment and children with disability through your active participation in our class. And lastly, you're able to create a fitness rubrics for individual with special needs. Give yourself a virtual clap, class. All right, thank you so much. So for your final activity, we will gauge what you have attained so far in our lesson for this night. So here is your final activity. So identification, you need a 1/4 sheet of clean paper. Answer the following. So this is only 15 items. So I will only give you 10 minutes for you to do it and send it through my messenger account. All right, thank you, class. So I guess we have a successful lesson tonight. Thank you, class, for listening, and God bless us all. See you next time around. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye po.